This, if I'm entirely honest, was a mistake of mine. It's Monday morning, not in the yard. I'm at Euston Station. I have a meeting in the north of the country, and I've decided that on the way to the meeting, I'm going to need to work. There could be an accident on the M1 somewhere, and I'm just going to be sitting there doing nothing for hours. So I'm taking the train, and you know that I am into trains. Are you not into trains? I was able to work in the lounge. There wasn't that much traffic on the way in when I got... Can you imagine, while I'm gassing to the camera, talking about, oh yeah, it's going fabulously, I nearly missed the train. If I'd have missed this train, I would have been late for the meeting, and that would have been catastrophic. I just managed to squeeze in the door like some weird amphibious creature. Luckily, everyone else's day is going according to plan, and at the Central London Penthouse, we continue with the work. You know I'm a train buff, so I'm out the window. I just saw our good friends at Power Day. Click here to see a video where within lockdown we worked with Power Day to clear sites where fly tipping took place over COVID. Listening to the radio on the way in, as you see a few weeks back I watched the budget. These are not things I've ever done, I've just got on with it, but I am now paying attention to market conditions. I guess you can say that's some form of business maturity. I've given my take on how the budget affects business. I heard this morning that the increase in PAYE is going to cost Tesco 1 billion more per year. Now some people might say,
oh, so what, they're a big company, they make 3 billion a year.
Hear me out. While Tesco is a big company, there are people, normal people, like you and me, who work there, who answer to other people and shareholders. And they are now down £1 billion. They, as a business, are not just going to say,
okay, well, it's only $1 billion, we make money.
They're going to try to adapt and evolve to keep up their profit margins. That is just business. It's nothing personal, it's nothing bad. It doesn't make them evil. And one of two things is going to happen. Either the price of food is going to increase, making it more expensive for everyone, or they're going to start to let people go. It's a double-edged sword. The businesses need to create some space to maneuver, because no matter what, they are in business to make a profit. Whether they sell food, whether they sell luxury items, they're there to make a profit. They are not a government organisation. The rest of the food sector, collectively, it's going to cost them 3 billion. There's a knock-on effect, and people are going to lose their jobs. It's not fantastic, but this is the world we now live in. So we're all going to have to, unfortunately, try and do what's best for us individually and what businesses see as the best way forward for them. Last week, the council visited the refurbishment project. Here are the plans. This is the existing, this is the proposed, and this is our lovely render of what it's going to look like. They only spent 10 minutes, they had a look around the site, and we will know within 2 to 3 weeks whether they have approved and whether we can go back to the client and let them know, right, we have permission to build this, how do you want to move forward? Something that was sent to me yesterday, Building Impossible with Daniel Ashville, that's my TV show on Nat Geo. It is now released in India, and they have decided to dub over my voice. Now, I was not consulted in this, and they didn't ask me if I could speak that dialect for me to re-record it myself and do some VO. You know I love to do a bit of VO.
एक अरीना जो बना है स्पोर्ट्स ग्लैडिएटर्स के लिए।
सीधा रखो।
ऐसी सिटी में जो फेमस है कंपटीशन के लिए।
Time now is 11:45. I have finished with my meeting. I'm heading back to the train station to head to London. I was told straight, if it can't be done like this, then the deal isn't possible. But I like it when people are straight with me, because then you know where you stand. It's Tuesday morning and we're on the road again. Time is 5:30. We're on the way into the yard. Tezza has collected me. He is driving Miss Daisy. He is officially Morgan Freeman. Yesterday I didn't need my car because you saw I was in the north of the country. So Urban took it back. They were doing a bit of work on my camera system. Someone in the comments mentioned that the buzzing sound that we were getting meant that we needed a grounding loop. And the charging of my walkie-talkie should be working. They're going to drop my car back later today. So Tezza was kind enough to collect me and put the heated seat on. It's going to be a busy day. There's plenty to do. And I think we're going to start with Luke going out with one of the drivers. This is a good old muck away of inert material. This is bread and butter work for 8x4 construction spec tipper lorries. We have 20 loads in total to remove from site today, and as one tipper leaves, another is ready to back in. Trying to come up with a solution for some temporary power. It's confirmed that on the 21st of November, this area is going to have no power at all because somebody's going to be going through an upgrade. Now, I'm not a man who's going to complain about someone getting an upgrade, because we will be the next one that causes the entire area to get shut down. So I'm trying to work out a way to plug in our generator, which you saw in Weekly a little while ago, fired up, working well. We have all the certification. How we're going to connect into our current substation. I'm talking to Bartush and the record-breaking, record-making Terry's brother. It's only one day, but one day is extremely important. Because without power, we have no silo, we have no weighbridge, we have no computers, we have no lighting, we have absolutely nothing. So I think that now's enough time for us to get a plan in place. So it should all be good to go by the time we are turned off. And we have people coming in to collect. That's my friend Tom from Springbridge. Always nice to see Tom's lorries in here. In central London, we continue with the demolition. We're ripping out the kitchen and still removing plasterboard to expose the roof, external walls and structural steels. Back at the yard, we have a cement delivery and concrete lorries to load, which need to go out and finish a pour. And that's it for Tuesday. The utility's there. Yeah. Here's your line. Is that no? Fine. That's enough space. If we could lower the ceiling in the bathroom, we could put both the aircon units in here and duct one to here, and that way we don't have it in the bathroom and we don't have to make the cupboard smaller. We don't have to do anything to the ceiling in the bedroom. If we can get underneath this. Put the access hatch in the store. And then we've got two access hatches in the ceiling in here. So the two of them are together. Okay, I'm fine with that above the steel. We could like build a box from the timber. So like if we cut out a piece here, we could support it. The bed is here in the room. So you'd basically have to put one there and one there.
The unit's 200 deep, but by the time we hang it on the channels, and drainage and everything, we're talking 280 maybe, we're coming down.
No, but then
you've got to move it back from the cupboards.
And then you've got the connections for the ductwork either side.
You've got the unit for the kitchen and you've got the out or the in. You're going over a steel, and then you've got your other in or out, and then you've got the other unit for the living room.
Yes.
And I'm at the Central London Penthouse. My friend Craig from ECS and Vino Magna has popped down, and we're going through the plan for the air conditioning. When we're putting the air conditioning in place, we're trying to take as little space from the client as possible, And at the same time, we don't want to make any of the ceilings less attractive because you need access hatches to get to these units. So this is the plan thus far. There's a utility room over here. We're going to put 2 units in the ceiling and have a large access hatch so we can get to them. One of the units is going to feed the bedroom next to it. The other unit, the pipework is going to go over the top of the steel here and feed the bedroom over here. That way we can keep a reasonable height in the 2 bedrooms and the bathroom, and it's just the utility area which the client isn't going to be bothered with. In the living room, we're taking the unit and putting it in the kitchen, and the unit for the kitchen will also be in the kitchen. There'll be 2 access hatches, but we have some steels blocking it. So the unit for the living room, we have to move it down as close as possible to the steel in order that when we have the access hatch drop down, it doesn't slam against the kitchen units. And then we will duct across steels into the living area, and we'll have an in and an out so the air circulates within the room. And the unit for the kitchen is relatively simple. We just need the in and out to be separated, so where the unit's going to be, the pipe will go over a couple of the steels, and on one side we'll have the in, on the other side the out. We are going to ask the client, would they like the control units on the wall, or can we hide them inside the utility room? Now you might think if we hide them inside the utility room, it's going to take the reading from the utility room, and then the aircon units won't be able to manage their temperature properly. Incorrect. We have flush wall room thermostats. So the thermostats will be unseen and be in the room, and the reading from the thermostat will go to the wall controller. So the wall controller, where you're changing the temperature, will have the reading from the room, so the unit itself will be able to manage. They can actually just have an app on their phone and do it. So we have a plan for the air conditioning. While it's in this state, Craig's lads are going to come in, they're going to put the outdoor units on the roof of the building, and then we're going to install internal units. We're not going to run any of the pipe work yet, we're just going to put the units in place, because then we know how much ceiling space and void space we have, and there's a bit of work we need to do around all of the steels to strengthen them up. At the same time as that, the boys are taking rubbish downstairs and they're filling the van for another trip so we can get all of this demolition done, and then we have a clearer vision of what we can do with the space. Testing, testing, 1, 2, testing, testing.
Yes, Daniel.
Flo, do you read me? Flo, do you read me? Over.
Yes, Daniel.
Do you read me loud and clear? Do you read me loud and clear?
Yeah.
Thank you very much. Over and out. I'm happy to report that my radio is now charging and I'm able to communicate with the lads in the yard, and the road is closed. Do you know what? This is long. Sha-la-la-la. And I can hear everything that's going on in the yard, which is great. Progress is going very well at the Central London Penthouse. The client has already visited a showroom and picked out a load of bathroom fixtures and fittings, which we are putting deposits on their behalf, and we're going to have it delivered directly to the site. At the refurbishment project, we're going to have a similar agreement with the client. My mate Johnny from Scotland, he's going to go to the Chelsea Design Centre with their designer, where there are hundreds and millions of different fabrics and samples and all the pretty stuff, you know, all the different wallpapers and carpets, and you can basically put together a mood board with all the different color palettes, and you can match up each room one by one. They could possibly go there and do every single room in one day, which saves a lot of time rather than me communicating and sending across pictures, because sometimes a picture doesn't give you an accurate interpretation of what it feels like or what it looks like in person or in the flesh. cleaning up the area at the top of the yard, giving it a good old scrape while the sun's shining. And then we're gonna horse in a load of 6F5, and it looks like this pile's getting rather small. We may run out, but I just wanna compact it in, and I wanna start to move all the different slate, so we begin to store it here as we do our final bits and get out the old yard. Front of the yard we have this vehicle gate, and we're taking a couple of fence panels and we're going to put tech screws to hold them in place, and then we're going to weld them. And then this gate, which opens both ways, forwards and backwards, as you saw in the episode of Weekly when we were cleaning this area, we're actually going to put a plate on it and weld it closed so the front of the yard is completely secure. Something we should have done a long while ago, but it slipped my mind, but now it is getting the attention it needs. We have a number of muck shifting jobs which have been approved and a couple of demolition jobs. All large size projects. Some of them are going to need 100 load out a day. Now it's a good position to be in to have jobs accepted. However, a little bit worried that all the work is going to start at the same time. Don't want to let anyone down because our able-bodied willing replacements will be at the gate like sharks smelling the blood in the water, and they'll be ready to jump on the work, as anyone would be because it's not busy out there. Trying to navigate that and hoping that everyone doesn't say on one particular day,
Today's the day we're starting.
We keep checking the progress of the sites. The teams are on site and they're just preparing. They're setting up the security around the site. They're setting up welfare facilities. And there are 1 or 2 loads going in and going out. So they've scraped out.
Just got one into type 1, 18 ton of type 1, please, 18 ton of type 1.
Well, you know the radios are working. They've scraped out the areas and they have a very small pile of clean inert material. And the 6F5 we've brought in has been compacted and used to put the porta cabins in that area. So let's head into one of those jobs now and take out a clean load of inert. Thursday morning. I'm not in the yard. I'm at Scania in Heathrow for a meeting. I was early, so I was having a look around in the car park and there was a lump of an engine. It looks used, so it probably means it's come out of a unit and a new one has gone in. It looks like one of them 13 litre or possibly even one of the bigger 16 litre lumps that's come out of a lorry. Fine bit of kit. I'm going to head in for my meeting now, but in the yard, Network Rail have arrived and they're fitting the plaques for the new yard at the primary and secondary entrance that let us know where the lines of responsibility for maintenance start and end. Back up the top of the yard, still trying to prepare the new area. The meeting with Scania went well. We had to have a discussion around springs and R&M contracts. When I signed up to R&M, I believed that the only things that weren't covered were windscreens and tyres. I've now learnt from Scania that they don't cover springs, because apparently if your spring breaks, it's down to damage. We've been going back and forth on this for months. I'm saying we bought a Scania tipper XT construction spec that goes in and out of construction sites and landfills. How could a spring, if it goes, be damaged? And it is not Scania GB, to make that clear. is Scania in Sweden, and the two run independently. And when Scania here do warranty work, R&M work, they have to send it to Sweden to get it authorised. And Sweden said
They ain't paying for springs.
We've been at a Mexican standoff with Scania GB, so we just went and had a sit down, and we've agreed that moving forward, if there's work needed on a spring or a spring needs to be replaced, we're going to recover the lorry and take it to one of our spring suppliers, and we're just going to handle doing springs ourselves moving forward. Otherwise, we would have just been arguing for months on end, and which is what we've been doing to this point, and we're not going to get anywhere. But my personal opinion is that spring should be covered under full repair and maintenance contracts. What's your take on that? We continue with the work in the yard, but before that happens, Liebherr are in to have a look at the 586. We've got a warning light on, and they also need to have a look at the 926. As the tippers have been on mop work all week, as you saw earlier, when they get back at the end of the day, we're cleaning out their tipping bodies and loading them with slate. Many hands make light work, and all 19 tippers doing a few loads each at the end of each day will get the material moved in no time. Now, we're just using a machine to pile the material delicately as high as we can so it takes up as little floor space as possible. Doesn't look pretty, but the gate is now nice and secure from using old parts around the yard, using bits of metal and welding. The important part is that it is secure. And now Luke is heading out with George in the skip lorry to do a collection. It's Friday morning and I'm in the yard. The time is 5:30 a.m. on the dot. I've gone up to the old yard to quickly take a look at the area where we have some of the slate products. We start with a loading shovel, get the bulk bits out, then we use an excavator, then the lads have to get in there with a shovel and try and clean all the corners out. This was concreted specifically to keep this material clean, and unfortunately we haven't sold it all, so we got to move it. But this is a high value product. If you remember, a long time ago we brought this in on the train. Click here to watch a video where we do a showcase on the quarry, which was used as a bunker in World War II. One of the bays is relatively clean, but this is like a painful task to have to clean out all of the corners and try to salvage as much of it as we can. And then we move it to the new yard. It's actually taking longer than what we thought it would, but it's worth it to protect this product. Yesterday, at the end of the day, Dudek went and did some shopping at MP Moran's, and today at the Central London project, we're going to arrive first thing in the morning. We're going to carry all the materials upstairs, then we're going to do another load of rubbish and take it downstairs, and we are going to start to build up some of the new walls. Does everybody read me? Does everybody read me? Over.
Yeah, Daniel.
1.
Yeah, Daniel. Yeah, Daniel.
3. Terry and Simon, do you read me? Over.
Yes, I do. Simon doesn't because he's not in it.
I've just been told We have a train of Type 1 on Monday.
Yeah, okay, I got it.
Thank you. Over.
What do you mean I actually get to see one in the new yard now, yeah?
I don't know, maybe you won't turn up for work again and then you won't get to see it tell.
Again, yeah.
As you heard, there's a train of Type 1 coming in on Monday, which is very good. It's good to see that the LH60 will be working again. Need to get it up to working temperature and have it working at full bore. That animal needs to be in its element working, because if you've got it round the yard just doing bits and pieces, it doesn't get up to its operating temperature, and then you get all sorts of warnings on the dashboard about AdBlue and regeneration and all sorts of bits of nonsense like that. Now the boys, they're gonna think that I knew and I forgot and I didn't tell them, but that is categorically not true. I only just got the message, so I am telling them. When a train's coming in, we need to ensure that we are prepared, there is space. You don't want to be scrambling around when the train gets there. You want to be ready long in advance. Left the yard to go to a meeting, but just as I was leaving, I saw that a plant engineer turned up and he's going to be having a look around some of the Ashville plant hire kit. Last week you saw us remove a leaking ram from this machine. It's repaired and now needs to be installed. To gain access to the area, a number of panels and plates need to be removed and then refitted on completion. The machine is due to go straight out on hire, but with an attachment which has not been previously fitted to this machine, so a hydraulic specialist has come in to install fittings that will make that possible. An order has just come through. I've been working on a project which is around 3,000 or 4,000 ton, and the first 1,100 has come through, and we're going to start delivering it on Tuesday. Now, we have made a hybrid deal with one of the majors. When I say major, I mean one of the large players in the aggregate, cement, tarmac game, not any independents or family businesses, like international companies with bases in Switzerland and other parts of the world who are worth billions. But we've managed to make a deal with them. So let me explain. The client would prefer to deal with a company like ours because we're more dynamic, we're a lot faster, and if you call us at 4 o'clock, there's a chance you'll get something in the morning if you forget, or if the worst happens, we'll try and get you out of stock as best way we can. Majors are a lot bigger, and there's a lot more people to go through, and there's a lot more red tape. So they can't really be as dynamic because they have a lot more people to answer to, and decision makers are often very far away from the decision that needs to be made. So the clients generally have an account with us and an account with them. We handle the project, we price everything, but then we ask the client to make the purchase order in the name of the major. Now, the major has already given us a collect rate. No matter what, this is what the material is going to cost, and that is what we would have paid the major. The purchase order from the client is in the amount with our delivery charge within it. So now the major charges the client X, and we bill the major for our haulage. Now, it might sound like we're doing ourselves out of work, but that money for the haulage, we did not produce the primary material. It came from a quarry. So we would have only made the same thing anyway. So we're making the money without having the heartache and the cash flow issue of in 30 days, where's our money? It's the first type of deal that we done like that, and I hope there will be many more, because I've priced about 3 or 4 of them, and Salesman Sam done the same. And also I've had confirmation that we have 3 decent sized jobs starting in the first week of December. So we hope things are going to pick up. But generally, historically, December's kind of quiet, but it's been a quiet year. So hopefully December can pick up and we can really get the wheels turning out there, and then we can go into 2025 strongly, because we do need it. I saw emails flying back and forth. David, project manager in Ashville Construction, click here to see a weekly where he tells us what he does on a day-to-day basis. He was sending some pictures over to the client at the Central London Muse home, because it's all click here to watch a video with the Central London Muse home, but this isn't that. This is the Central London Penthouse, but not the Central London Penthouse that we did last time a couple of years ago. Click here to watch that video again. This is a different one completely because we've done a few of them. Anyway, David was showing the client in green, this is the linear grille in the shower area. The yellow you can see is actually the niche, which is going to be cut out of the wall in the shower, just above the shower mixer. And this is the other bathroom, and we can see the niche above the bath. There is a niche in the shower area, and we can see the linear grille within the shower. Everything's already agreed with the client. We're already putting the walls together, and we're pushing on. If we can get the walls installed and up and we can start to run the first fix, we are going to next week start to measure up all of the external doors and windows so they can go into production. Decisions are being made, the client is being responsive, and I'd like to say that we are flying on the job. And that's it for Friday. Saturday morning. I'm in the new yard. We've moved over the sand and we're just moving over the shingle now. We're not going to move all of it out of the old yard because we got 3 tippers out that are each doing muck away out of the site. They're tipping it and then they're coming back here to load shingle. So those 3 loads, there's no point moving them in here just to reload them again. I'm just assessing the state of the ground here, which isn't perfect, but I've asked the lads, when you're picking up the material, please do not get the shovel blade, put it against the ground and scrape up all the 6F5 into the material. It isn't necessary. Please drive into the material with the cutting edge a little bit higher. And we have 2 volumetrics out. We're going to use this time today to move around kit in the yard, to do our normal greasing and checking all of the wheel nuts and all of our other maintenance and preparing for the train on Monday. We have 2 piles of type 1. Flo says that it's definitely enough space for us to offload half the train in one and half the train in the other. And it's good to have 2 piles of it because depending on how busy the yard is, we can either load from one bay or load from the other. Last bits to prepare for Monday. Giving this machine a clean to prepare it for hire, and a few tipper lorries need to be loaded with 6F5. Admiring my new area at the top of the yard and my plum, blue and grey slate. I said this before, and I'll say it again. This, if I'm entirely honest, was a mistake of mine because I was too early. And too early is the same as being wrong. This material was extremely expensive and it's very difficult to store. However, it has huge margins, unlike sand, type 1 and gravel, which you have to sell millions of tons of to make any money. You can sell much less of this material and make a lot more. However, it's very rare that people want large quantities of it. It came in a while ago from Wales. I like to try. If I don't try, I don't know. Luckily, it's paid for in full, so every time it does go out now, it's a bonus. But not enough of it has gone out. We'll probably be waiting for February, March, April for it to begin to start moving again. And then we'll have a conversation about stocking it in the future. I believe we're probably going to have a discussion with the manufacturer, and rather than taking on the burden ourselves completely, we may enter into an operating agreement where we both share the risk because we both want the product in the London market and we want the business. So I feel next time we share it rather than Ashville taking on the entire burden. Cue outtakes and bloopers. So far the trip has gone as planned. All the trains are on time. So far the trip has gone as planned. All the trains show it.
Finally, Las Vegas में हूँ और ये जगह डिसअपॉइंट नहीं करती, हर जगह बस लाइट्स ही हैं। अरे ये तो बहुत जल्दी खत्म हो गया। पलक झपकते ही काम खत्म हो गया, कमाल हो गया।
One take. In the morning early, we'll unlock the turnstile. So, no, that don't make no sense. Now the lads get into the corner, and that's it for Ashville Weekly, episode 215. Click here for the Ashville website. Click here to subscribe to our channel. Click down here to see an Ashville video you may not have seen before. And click down here for last week's episode, which was number 214. I hope that is the episode. I'm not sure.